Hello and a very warm welcome on today's page 1. I'm Nancy Bora and I'm joined by my colleague and co-host Adrika Sharma. So what we are essentially trying to do here today is that we are going to help you kickstart your day with all the updated news stories that made the headline, that are making the headlines in the newspaper. We are going to go through a lot of dailies, Indian Express, Times of India, and let you know how they are covering it. So Adrika, big day yesterday, a lot has happened. We have a lot to discuss and a lot of developing stories, I must say. So let's just start with, let's just address the elephant in the room, the Sanjay Singh, arrest, the ED raid case, the whole row that has been happening. Yesterday, he was sent to a 10-day, custody, 5-day remand, beg your pardon, by the court. And the Supreme Court has now started questioning the validity of the arrest of Manish Singh Sisodia, that how is he included. First the Supreme Court questioned the ED, that why is AAP not an accused, and now they are questioning Manish Sisodia. So I think as we are moving forward with the case, a lot of things are being questioned by the Supreme Court. They are raising important questions, that how did you arrest him, why is he involved, what is happening. So let me just go through what the Times of India is covering today and how they are covering the story. On the front page, the headline says that the SC is saying that if Sisodia was not in money trail, how will the PMLA, the case will stand against him. Says as per ED, money didn't go to his pocket. So the Supreme Court on Thursday questioned the ED on how Manish Sisodia, senior Aam Aadmi Party leader and former Delhi Deputy CM, could be implicated for money laundering in the liquor policy case if he was not part of the money trail. I mean, Manish Sisodia has, he was arrested, there were raids on his home, and now it's coming out that he was not there in the money trail as well. So how is he being held accused in the whole, the PMLA Act, the money laundering case won't stand against him, which the SC is very, they are making a very logical, they are asking a very logical question here. After going through the money trail placed by ED, a bench of Justices Sanjeev Khanna and SVN Bhatti as asked Additional Solicitor General SV Raju, Manish Sisodia is not involved in all this. Vijay Nair, a close aide of CM Kejriwal who looked after AAP's publicity wing, is there, but Manish Sisodia is not there in this part. How will you bring him in PMLA case of money laundering if the money did not come from his pocket? I mean, now the SC has gone back. Now the SC was looking towards it because of the Sanjay Singh. The case is again making the headlines in the newspapers, and the Supreme Court has come out and they are asking a very valid question, that we were talking about Vijay Nair, who was the publicist, who was handling the money in the excise policy case, and he was there in the money trail. So we get it, if we are going to arrest him, if you are taking him if you are taking Vijay Nair accountable for what has happened, that is logical. But where does Manish Sisodia is coming from? We are talking about the PMLA case here, the money laundering case, and the suspect, the key conspirator, the ED has framed Manish Sisodia as the key conspirator, and now they are coming out and saying that he was not in the money trail. So how are you going to convict him in the PMLA case is something that they have to look forward to. I'm just going to read some of the quotes from the SC bench, what they said. They said Vijay Nair is there but Manish Sisodia is not there. How will you bring him in the PMLA case? PMLA will be triggered after proceeds of crime are given or paid. You have to connect the person concerned with the proceeds of crime directly or indirectly. So now the ED have to prove that Manish Sisodia directly or indirectly was connected to the case, or even if he was not in the money trail, how is he involved in this money laundering case is something that they have to prove before arresting him and before framing him as the key conspirator. Then they're saying when there is a policy change, everybody wants a change that will be beneficial for them. There will always be a lobby and group with vested interest, but it is the money part which would make it an offense. So they are making a very logical point. It is a money laundering case. So if the key element of the case is not linked with the key conspirator, if the key conspirator is not involved in the key element of the case, the money case, the money is the which is making it so illegal and offensive. If he is not linked with the money trail, on what basis are we going to convict him in the PMLA case? So it's very interesting to see how it is panning out. Yesterday only we were talking about that this could be a game changer from Aam Aadmi Party, because when it got arrested, everybody was like, oh my god, why did they introduce the policy? There were so many loopholes, there were so many irregularities in the implementation of the policy, and now it's coming back to AAP. Now that Supreme Court is now also questioning that on what basis all of this is happening. How are you arresting people? You cannot go on, conducting raids on people and without any proof. So I think now the game has changed slightly a bit. Now Aam Aadmi Party is coming out, it's getting painted in a different picture now. Now people are saying, okay, maybe what Aam Aadmi Party was saying for the longest of time, that they are being, this is a whole conspiracy of the BJP, that is panning out pretty well from Aam Aadmi Party, the claims that we were making. What are you picking up from your daily, Adrika?
Firstly, before reading the daily that I have in my hand, which is the Hindustan Times right now, what I want to really bring in forward is that first of all, this excise case has a recall value. Is because I've been saying this for the longest time, that the streak of AAP leaders, getting probed, and then their possibility of them being arrested have been going on for a while. So one thing that really benefits the Aam Aadmi Party is that it has a recall value for them to kind of frame this picture around Aam Aadmi Party, being the one that are the victims, and of course there is a conspiracy being framed around Aam Aadmi Party. So I think of course that's one thing, and secondly the legality point that you put in forward. The excise policy was already very controversial and disputed. The moment it was changed and it was amended in a certain way, there were a lot of loopholes that were discussed, and somehow or the others there were reports that suggested that all of this might come back as an after effect to Aam Aadmi Party only. So I think it is really important to understand that the excise policy already had some loopholes. That's what the media reports were also telling us back then, and now we can see all of those loopholes that we once just read in those reports and gushed them
are being questioned in the Supreme Court.
And we gushed them down the carpet. We thought, okay, this might just be another media report suggesting that this policy can kind of change the game for Aam Aadmi Party, but who knew that could happen? And now we also have leaders. We have leaders from Aadmi Party coming out and saying that BJP is so desperate to prove that Aam Aadmi Party is the bad player, and we have leaders like Atishi coming out and saying that I challenge BJP, and I'm quoting certain media reports here, that I challenge BJP to even find an evidence of 1 rupee against Manish Sisodia. So I mean, of course Aam Aadmi Party looks very, very confident here. Aam Aadmi Party is going to stand its ground. I'm going to very quickly read what the Hindustan Times is reporting on the case. Delhi court on Thursday remanded Aam Aadmi Party's parliamentarian Sanjay Singh to Enforcement Directorate custody for 5 days. This is the development we know about Sanjay Singh, right? And days after he was arrested in connection with alleged irregularities in Delhi, now scrapped excise policy. Singh's sustained and custodial interrogation was necessitated based on allegations ED levied against him, and the court that placed on record. Adding, these also suggested a direct nexus with activities pertaining to proceeds of crime by the way of receiving 2 crore rupees. I mean, yesterday the numbers that we were getting were somewhere around 82 lakhs, and now the numbers that the Hindustan Times is reporting is around 2 crores. So that's a big change, Nancy. So we know that the story is already developing, right? And in view of totality of the facts and circumstances, the accused is being remanded to the custody of ED till 10th for the purpose of his detailed and sustained interrogation and confrontation with the oral and documentary evidence. So a lot of developments coming in. I mean, every day we see the figures changing, we see the court dates changing, and there's a new angle to it. So definitely a lot for Aam Aadmi Party in the longer run. It could be very beneficial for Aam Aadmi Party to kind of prove that what the media has been saying for the longest time, and what the sources have been saying for the longest time, that Aam Aadmi Party and their alleged streak of leaders being again and again tainted in a bad light might just be true.
Kejriwal warned the media. He said that more opposition leaders are going to get targeted because of this. And what interesting is happening right now is that I think ED is suffering a lot in the case, because yesterday, a day before yesterday, Supreme Court had asked ED to make AAP an accused. They were questioning the ED that why AAP is not an accused anymore. And now the Supreme Court is saying that if ED came out and he said that we are going to inform the Supreme Court that we are making AAP an accused in the case. Now the Supreme Court is saying that if ED makes AAP accused, it proves nothing found against Sisodia and Vijay Singh. Sanjay Singh. So now the question is that what ED can do. I mean, Manish Sisodia, who was arrested, who was in judicial custody. Now it's being questioned that on what terms is Manish Sisodia involved. If he didn't get the money, money is the problem, right? Money is the actual offense. Yeah. Politicians tend to come up with the policies that are going to benefit them personally and their party personally, which is fine, which is understandable. But money is the case that makes it illegal, that makes it so offensive. And now you're coming out and now you're saying that Manish Sisodia didn't get the money at all. He was not involved in the money trail. So how is he the key conspirator? How is he being, convicted in all of that? It says that the AAP convener Arvind Kejriwal claimed on Thursday that all the cases filed against his party leaders were false and called these probes a waste of time of the central government and its agencies. The way the court, I'm quoting him, he said that the way the court asked questions, it felt that they have in a way lodged wrong cases against us. So that is what we have been trying to say, that now the Supreme Court is questioning the whole legality of this case, the whole on what basis you are arresting people, you are conducting the raids. Aam Aadmi Party has now come up and saying that the way Supreme Court has asking the question, it looks like that now they are understanding that the way they were asking the questions, it's very evident that the Supreme Court doesn't believe, even the Supreme Court feels that the case filed against Aam Aadmi Party is a waste of time. It was a mistake by the ED and they have nothing to do with it, they are innocent. And the way as you correctly pointed out, the way Atishi came, the way Sanjay Singh is being, we saw his the visuals of his arrest, the visual of
impeccable.
Yeah, we saw the visual, the way he was just waving out in front of his fans, and he was very chill, and you can see people coming out in support of Aam Aadmi Party as well, the kind of protests that are happening. We saw a man on his pose, saying that this is illegal, the arrest is not, justified constitutionally. So that is something really interesting is happening.
Nancy, what I also think is that this entire controversy is going to help Aam Aadmi Party buy some more time for themselves to, establish their clear ground. And all of us know the controversies that followed around, BJP and AAP in the past 2-3 months. And my favorite one was the ones regarding the G20 and how the jurisdiction of beautification of Delhi was challenged, and how there were fiery jibes against each other. So now again controversies like these wherein there are multiple stakeholders. Right now we have to understand what the ED has to say, and what the Supreme Court has the legal point that it is coming forward with, and that is unfolding the case in a certain way. So a lot of stakeholders here, but one thing is for sure that Aam Aadmi Party does have a lot of time on their plate for them to kind of Nancy, what is the correct word for this? For them to kind of beautify this case around them in a certain way, so that we have a new picture of Aam Aadmi Party.
Definitely.
And there's a very good angle that the Hindustan Times is reporting for all of us, is that the court did not grant Sisodia bail on Thursday, and fixing October 12 as the next date of hearing. The bench said of the most allegations the corruption case registered by the CBI against Sisodia were hearsay based on the statements made by approvers and would not pass scrutiny before the trial court. And I quote, 2 questions in cross-examination and this will fall flat, said Justice Khanna. The queries that appeared to punch holes in ED's case against Sisodia came a day after agency arrested AAP leader Sanjay Singh in connection to the excise policy. So all of us know that the moment Manish Sisodia's key conspirator, claims kind of unfolds, just another angle for Sanjay Singh, Nancy, right?
Definitely. And I mean, whatever is happening with Manish Sisodia. I mean, Manish Sisodia made the headlines back in when he was arrested, and there were a lot of speculations about him as well. But like moving on to the main, the star of this, row, that is right now Sanjay Singh.
Yeah, we are forgetting him. Let's talk about him.
Let's talk about Sanjay Singh. What is happening with him? a day, just 2 days before, we had the news that ED has raided his home. Then we got to know that their search are going through, and they arrested him by the evening, saying that he was not cooperating, he was trying to hide the evidence. He was produced in front of the court yesterday. He was arrested, he was taken to jail, and he was produced in court yesterday. And now the latest that we have on Sanjay Singh is that court has given ED custody of Sanjay Singh till October 10. So they have 5 days for interrogation. They are going to talk to Sanjay Singh in the connection of the 2 crore bribery received by him in the liquor policy scam. Now it says that the court said Singh's arrest by the ED was not unwarranted or unreasonable. So the court has said that okay, we get it. On the grounds that you are trying to arrest Sanjay Singh is fine. You can have 5 days of interrogation, talk to him, interrogate him, and let us know what evidence you can get out of it. After hearing both sides, Special Court Judge M.K. Nagpal said it prima facie appears from the material placed before this court that rupees 2 crore was delivered at Singh's residence. He further noted that there were call records and cell location charts of those involved to corroborate this claim of the investigating agency. So interestingly, Adrika, there were some evidence, that the 2 crore, because with Manish Sisodia, the case is that he was not involved in the money trail, but with Sanjay Singh, they have some evidence that he received that 2 crore that for which he is being convicted for. So, but Anurag Thakur and Atishi, they have come out and in support, I'm just going to quote them. What they are saying is saying that if ED now makes up an accused in the alleged liquor case, it proves that they found nothing against Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh. This will only show their desperation, which is making a very logical point. First, you go ahead and you target certain leaders from a party. You say Manish Sisodia is involved, you say Sanjay Singh is involved, Satyendra Jain is involved. You go ahead and you say that these 3 leaders are the prominent one which are involved and we are going to conduct raid on them. Then the Supreme Court asks you, then you are saying if the party was the one who introduced the whole liquor policy, then the whole party should be an accused. Why AAP is not an accused in all of this? So if they are making AAP an accused, that means that they don't have enough evidence against Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh to hold the case, that the ED has been on which basis the ED has conducted the raids. Even though Manish Sisodia's case has been gone haywire now because he was not involved in the money trail, with Sanjay Singh they still have some proof. So there is still
the
some
differentiator hope. Is the money here. Yeah.
The money here. Then we have Anurag Thakur. He is also coming out and he is saying that Kejriwal ji has no answer to the liquor scam that has brought shame to him. So far, the deputy CM and others have gone to jail, but the kingpin is still out. The kingpin factor that the BJP has going out again and again, that why he is not arrested, all of that has come out, and Anurag Thakur is still attacking the BJP, still attacking the Aam Aadmi Party. So the tussle, the cracks that are getting deepened within, between Aam Aadmi Party and Bharatiya Janata Party is there. But interestingly, Adrika, if you look at it, there is some drift between the India bloc as well, between Aam Aadmi Party and another very prominent party of the India bloc, Congress. Because Congress has been silent from the start. They have not come out and not officially commented on what has been happening with Sanjay Singh.
Congress is trying to stand on neutral ground, is what we are
not neutral ground. I would say they are trying to, just stay out of it, that it's not our matter. And this is something that does not look good when you are in alliance, because Aam Aadmi Party and Congress have been in, the cracks between them are getting deepened, and it started when, Congress again, backed out when it came to the Delhi ordinance. So the crack has
aren't these the speculations that a lot of reports suggested that the India bloc and the cracks inside the India bloc may pan out very differently as we move forward. And Nancy, we are forgetting one very key figure in this case, which is Dinesh Arora. And I have the Indian Express with me, and I'm going to quote Dinesh Arora and what he's saying about Sanjay Singh. And he says, Sanjay Singh has exploited and has gained illegal money kickbacks, which proceeds of crime generated from liquor policy 2021-2022. He has been a part of conspiracy of collecting kickbacks from liquor groups. There's a plural here, right? He has a close relationship with Dinesh Arora, as revealed by Dinesh Arora, as well as From his call records, the ED police stated. The ED has again, all of us know that, alleged that Dinesh Arora, given associate with the Sarvesh Mishra at the MP's house. Mishra's house was raided by ED in May, and in order, the court said the bribe or the kickback amount of rupees 2 crores received by the accused is alleged to have been as a part and in furtherance of criminal conspiracy of scheduled offences case of CBI. All of us know it's a prima facie as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have to, wait and watch what is going to happen with Sanjay Singh. He is in the custody. He is in 5-day custody with ED. How is it, what is going to get out of it, what evidence ED is going to prove against Sanjay Singh, and what will happen with Manish Sisodia as well, whether the PMLA case against him will stand or not, is also something that we'll have to wait and watch and see. And the rifts between AAP and Congress, AAP and BJP will deepen with as the case develops.
And Nancy, one thing for sure that we will be getting is, those visuals of Sanjay Singh looking absolutely unfazed. I'm assuming even after the 5-day remand that has been,
he looks confident that he's going to get out of it.
I'm going to go with unfazed here.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Adrika, moving on. A devastating devastating news that we have been covering is the Sikkim flash flood that has happened. We saw the visuals coming in from Sikkim, and the death toll is rising constantly. I'm just going to quickly read out for the viewers that how the Times of India is covering and what is the latest update on Sikkim flash floods that took place a day before yesterday. It says that Sikkim flash flood toll death rises to 38. Bodies found in Bengal and Bangladesh. 78 still missing, 4 army men among dead. The human toll in Wednesday glacial lake outburst flood caused by the high altitude South Luhang reservoir in North Sikkim imploding into a giant cascade down the Teesta basin soared to 38 on Thursday, including 4 of the 22 army personnel reported missing since the catastrophe. At least 78 people were still to be traced more than 24 hours after the flash flood coursed through several districts, raising fears of more casualty as the clock ticks away. The army, whose camps in the region suffered extensive damage in the flash flood early Wednesday, hasn't officially confirmed if any of its missing personnel are among the dead. So, we were talking about 22 army personnel who went missing. The news has coming in from Sikkim that 4 of them are dead and 78 people are still missing. I mean, look at the visuals, Adrika, the way the destruction
and the numbers could be so much higher, Nancy.
Definitely. I mean, whenever something like this happened, the death toll will go, will rise. Still, there is chance, there is possibility because 78 people are missing, and the flood came. I guess it's been 2 days now that the flood had occurred in Sikkim. So, whatever. I mean, I just don't even want to imagine what people of Sikkim are going through. And what the army in Sikkim has are facing a lot of the kind of backlash that they got. Their vehicles got submerged, the base campsite has gone. 23
as much
of
as
them
40 vehicles is what we were reading, army vehicles.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever is going through, we saw the visuals, we saw 2 bridges were completely destroyed. I mean, it looks like they never existed. A road was cut in half in Sikkim.
The visuals scream devastation, Nancy.
Definitely. I mean, whatever is happening in Sikkim is something that is very concerning and troubling. I mean, what are you picking up, Adrika?
Apart from the fact that it of course really breaks everyone's heart who right now is aware of Sikkim's situation, that an uncalled for tragedy has been unleashed on Sikkim and people are struggling. The death toll and the updates regarding it are constantly rising. Whenever we report numbers to you, we are not even sure. There's this eerie inside the both of us that we are reporting the death toll as so much so, but there could be a lot more, and people are struggling. We don't know where does the onus lie. But very quickly, I'm going to read what various stakeholders are saying here. The authorities are saying here. So I'm going to quickly read what the Indian Express is reporting about the Sikkim Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang, and he says a high level of meeting was convened at the Minto Kogang to assess the current situation and evaluate the extent of damages. I have issued instructions to all the pertinent officials, departments, district magistrates and superintendents of police to maintain a state of heightened vigilance and attend to requirements of the affected public with utmost diligence. In order to ensure accurate and timely information misinformation dissemination. The Chief Secretary will provide daily updates to the press. The flash floods in Teesta river triggered by the cloudburst in Lonak Lake in North Sikkim caused the accumulation of huge quantity of water towards the Chukthang Dam and destroying the power infrastructure before moving downstream. According to the government, the flood destroyed 11 bridges. Last day we were, just yesterday on page 1 we were reading that we had the information of 2 bridges being destroyed. Today the numbers that we are getting by the Indian Express, 11 bridges have been destroyed. 11 bridges. It takes years and years to build and maintain those bridges, and just 3 days. I'm assuming a lot happened in just a single day, but reports, the reports have this nature that we get numbers later. So 11 bridges is what in fact we've been getting. And we also know that the Chuktan town bore in maximum brunt of the flood, and the NH10, the considered lifeline of the state, sustained extensive damage. So we know that now this town has been cut off from the entire state. There is no communication, there's no transport, because the NH10 has taken a lot of toll and damage to itself. So yes, Nancy, a lot of updates coming in. Every time you read an excerpt out of the newspaper about Sikkim, it just breaks my heart.
And the worst part is, Adrika, it's not like I can just come out and say, oh, it was a natural disaster and the way it happened. It looks like there are a lot of, it was a 2021 report that had warned that something like this will happen in Sikkim, because the conditions there, the dams, the way the dams are being constructed in Sikkim, that is something that is, was concerning in 2021 as well. And I think the government and the authorities, they completely neglected it, and that is why all of this is happening. And I was just reading about it, one interesting aspect that says that Sikkim is a time bomb. Sikkim glacier lake size trebled in 3 decades before bursting. So for 3 years, this was something that was bound to happen, because the way ISRO also released a picture, of the glaciers, that the lake size trebled in 3 decades. North Sikkim, south of the Lohang Glacier Lake, the epicenter of the massive flash flood that ravaged the region on Wednesday, had been literally bursting at the seams after more than tripling in size from 0.42 square kilometer to 1.35 square kilometer in less than 3 decades. So, the dams that, the water release from the dam that we were talking about, that was actual cause, and the cloud burst that we were talking about. I mean, this was something that could have been avoided if the government, if the government would have decided not to neglect it, would have decided to take some actions against it. This all could have been avoided, and the loss of, lives that we are reporting right now, and the loss of infrastructure, the loss of, it's going to cost a lot to build those 2 bridges, to build that road again. I mean, that infrastructure is actually not going to, how are they going to compensate just because they decided not to? Because we have seen that bodies are being found in Bangladesh and Bengal. I mean, you can imagine the way the water the force of the water,
yes,
that the bodies are now being found in Bangladesh and Bengal. So I think the destruction is, my heart goes out to the people of Sikkim, and I just hope that, we get to the crux of it. Normalcy is returned back in Sikkim. But these are the things that, we have to hold the government accountable, and the authorities
there
accountable.
There is no excuse for loss of human life at that level. At that level, there is no compensation for the loss of life.
Definitely. I mean, I was just reading about it, that this was a known vulnerability. Everybody knew that.
There were reports that suggested, Nancy, that the lake, the lake is so much vulnerable to such after effects, and the aftermath is going to be devastating, and that is what people of Sikkim are dealing with. My heart goes out to the people of Sikkim and all the struggles that they have to withstand right now. So yes, death tolls constantly rising, 11 bridges as of now being reportedly damaged, a lot in NH10 that kind of serves as a lifeline for the Chukthang town of Sikkim has been destroyed. So yes, a lot of updates coming in here. We will keep you updated about the death toll and the damage undertaken by Sikkim.
Well, definitely, Adrika, whatever is happening in Sikkim is heartbreaking, and it's it really pains our heart to even report it. But Adrika, moving on to another story, that what is happening in the national politics and how we are panning it out. I mean, just let's just go through another story that is making the headlines in the newspapers today. Is that the Supreme Court has come out and they are saying that the defamatory statements in Parliament is not a crime. So I'm just going to quickly read out what the Supreme Court has actually said, and I'm just going to go through it again. The Supreme Court on Thursday rejected a proposition to term defamatory slogans at political opponents in Parliamentary or Assembly as part of criminal conspiracy so as to attract penal provisions of law, and said an act of defamation on the floor of the House is not a crime. In a bid to excoriate GMM MLA Sita Soren from bribe for vote charge by arguing that she had the immunity under Article 194 of 2 of the Constitution for anything said or vote cast in the House, senior advocate Raju Ramachandran said if an interior illegal act connected to the vote cast or speech made in the House is not immune, legislator would be hauled up for conspiracy to defame other members by making derogatory speech inside the House. So, you know, we were just covering the Supreme Court hearing that happened yesterday as well, and the day before that, and the way the debate around whether legislative immunity should be given to the legislator, that is something that, you know, was very important, because the whole argument was why the legislators are being put above the law. Why are they being the ones that are getting constitutional immunity when there is clear proof that they took bribery, that they are involved in corruption. So the whole debate around it happened, and the Supreme Court decided to stay on that conviction that we are going to look at the 25-year-old judgment that they gave in the PV Narasimha Rao case. And now they have come up with a new element to it, that the defamatory statements made in the Parliament cannot be held against them. So whatever they say in the House of Parliament is not going to be held against them. Adrika, what are you picking on that story?
Nancy, the thing is that defamation, you know, has always been very disputed and debated around, because we do not, you know, a lot of people do not understand what defamation in its core is, and there have been long disputed trials about defamation, politicians slapping defamation at each other. You know, a lot of times you've seen reports jokingly slapping defamation at each other, and, you know, using defamation, misusing it, and, you know, completely misguiding the entire concept. So I mean, definitely this case is going to probably pan out as a landmark one for the Supreme Court to, you know, give out a message that what defamation might stand for legislators and for the common public, of course, and do the legislators stand tall above the law, or is it the other way around?
Definitely. I mean, Adhika, we'll just wait and watch and see what happens, how is it going to pan out. But again, now we're going to cover another story that we have been covering for the longest of time, and it breaks my heart every time I report about it. That is Manipur. What is happening is Manipur is something that is, it's heart-shattering, it's heartbreaking, because every time, you know, we have some new update. Recently, we were just covering this murder of 2 students, how their pictures got so viral on social media. There was massive protest and political unrest and communal unrest in Manipur. Following that, we have a latest update coming from Manipur, is that Manipur human rights activist home was vandalized. I'm just going to quickly read an e-copy of the Indian Express. Police sources said that the incident occurred around 6:30 p.m. at Loitangabam's residence in Kwaketei Thiam Leki, Imphal West District. Loitangabam himself has been out of Imphal since the first week of September. A mob vandalized the home of human rights activist Bablu Loitangabam in Imphal on Thursday evening. No one was injured during the attack, but there was some damage to the property. Police sources said that the incident occurred around 6:30 p.m. at his residence, and Loitangabam himself has been put out of Imphal since first week of September. Earlier on Thursday, members of Meiti Lipun issued a boycott call against the social activist and former police officer, both from the Meiti community. So they went ahead and they said, the one Meiti community activist, they called for a boycott of the social activists and a local police officer, directing them to not appear on public platforms till the ongoing conflict was resolved. The social activist could not be reached for comment following the vandalization of the house. So we don't have any reaction coming in from the social activist of what he said, what has happened, or what he's going through. Why was his home vandalized? Around the month of May, the same time, violence had first broken out in the state, where Loy Tungbam was in an interview with NewsClick pointed out that the emergence of some new groups called Methi Lipun and Arambai Tengol. So he warned in an interview with the NewsClick that there were communities that were being formed and that is going to pose a threat to him. And he said that while discussing the causes of the violence in Manipur, he said that these groups have injected militancy. So that is why, these groups, because in an interview he came out and he said that these groups are are a threat to Manipur. They are the ones who are inflicting violence in Manipur. So the people from that community, they decided to vandalize the house of the social activist that we are talking about.
And Nancy, it is for a fact that Mr. Loitingbam, he stands as a very prominent figure in the Manipur political and socio-political landscape. The socio-political landscape in Manipur does have Mr. Loitingbam as a very prominent figure. And for the benefit of the viewers, he is basically a globally renowned activist who has been quite vocal in his criticism of radical Meitei organizations, accusing them of perpetrating violence against cookies. He has also called for resignation of CM N. Biren Singh over months-long ethnic conflict in the state. The attack on Mr. Loitambang's home comes on the same day as the socio-cultural organization Meitei Lipum boycotted the activist from speaking publicly until the conflict in Manipur is resolved. Apart from Loitingbam, the organization also banned former additional superintendent of police of Manipur, Mr. Brinda, from voicing her opinions publicly. The Meitei Lipum is known for its influence in the region, cited reasons of alleged misinformation and misleading the general public amidst the ongoing turmoil as the basis for this ban. So I think the key player here is the social influence that the social activists, hold within himself. And the reason why we know that he does have a strong hold on the public is by this development that we've been getting. The sources have been telling us that he was even stopped from speaking publicly. He was even stopped from making a public statement. That is so much influence that this social activist, kinds of holds in Manipur, and the views that he has to say about the Meiteis and the cookies and the dynamic between them. So
definitely. Yes. I mean, Adrika, we have been covering Manipur for the longest of time, and now we are understanding the kind of trust deficit that is there. And whenever we, whenever we go around, whenever we report stories, whenever we talk about what is happening in Manipur, I mean the concept of peace, the concept of normalcy seems like a far-fetched dream in Manipur.
It almost seems utopian, Nancy.
Utopian, definitely. And I mean, the way we are talking about the kind of incidents that we cover from Manipur, whether it was the viral video of the two students that went viral, whether we talk about the army jawan who was on leave and he was held at gunpoint in front of his 10-year-old, whether we talk about the women that were paraded naked, whether we talk about the guy who was beheaded and his head was was thrown in front of his face and was stuck in the fence of the house. I mean, when you talk about cases like this, it seems like that Manipur, and what is the government doing, what is the security forces doing? But again, when I talk about it, protests are being held, the civilians are so frustrated right now.
They are not leaving any stone unturned.
Yeah, definitely.
To escalate the situation in the favor of them. I mean, both of the communities are trying so hard to, establish a point and make their point and to, prove in a certain way that we are not a problem. But then at the core of all the problems and all the incidents that you mentioned, what does it lie? It lies the ethnic strife.
Definitely.
The ethnically misleaded, beliefs that both of the communities have been practicing. That is what the reports have been telling us, that the communities are so divided on the ethnic basis that right now it almost looks impossible that Manipur can go back to the serene and peaceful state that it was once.
Definitely. And whatever is happening in Manipur is something that it's heartbreaking to even report about it. All we can do is ask the government or plead these communities to talk about it, discuss it, so that peace and normalcy can restore in Manipur, and that is all we can ask for. But Adrika, moving on, from Manipur. I mean, it's always hard to move on from Manipur, and I hope that nobody ever does move on from Manipur, because whatever is happening is something of a national issue now.
Yes.
But we have an update coming on from Rajouri, which was I think I will let you give out the details to the viewers that what has actually happened, how the 4 Jawans, how 4 majors were killed, and what is the report saying.
I'm going to quickly read out all the details that I have with my daily newspaper in my hand, which is the Hindustan Times. And this development is an amusing one, is a development that we do not normally hear in headlines. So please take a very deep listen here. Major opens fire and lobs grenades at soldiers at forward base near the LOC. A major opened fire and lobbed grenades at his fellow soldiers at a forward base near line of control in Jammu and Kashmir on Thursday, resulting in injuries to few of them. 4 officials are aware of the matter. The incident involves the Army's 48th Rashtriya Rifles Unit and took place in Rajouri's Thana Mandi area. The Hindustan Times has learnt, and the Hindustan Times has been reporting that there are no reports of casualties, the officials said, and asking not to be named. The sources have not been disclosed as of yet is what we are getting. Details of the incidents were sketchy till Thursday night, and I quote, one officer was injured in the likely grenade accident at a post in Rajouri sector. Officer evacuated and stable post initial treatment. Further investigations of the incident in progressing has been developing. The officers who opened fire was dealing with some personal issues, the official said, adding the major has been apprehended. The injured soldiers were rushed to hospital. The major is believed to have fired in the air before he began shooting at some soldiers of the unit which specializes in counter-terrorism operations, said one of the officials that have been cited above. A few officers, including the regimental medical officer, rushed to the spot after the firing began, and they were targeted by major with grenades, said another official. So that is the details that we've been getting, the details that Hindustan Times have been reporting. A major opens fire and lobs grenades at the soldiers at the forward base near the LOC. The incident is of the Thana Mandi area, and what the sources are saying, the sources do not wish to be named, but the information that we are getting is that the major was dealing with certain personal issues. There are no descriptions or details of what the personal issues, quote unquote, would have been for the major. But yes, this development is very unprecedented. The media reports have not seen something of this sort before, and that is all that we have on this report for the Hindustan Times.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Adrika, whatever happened, I mean, to see a army major firing at his own fellow soldiers, yes. I mean, you know, even when you were reading out the details, it seems very, you know, something that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
Unprecedented. I mean, something very unusual that happened. I mean, whatever the reason was, why the incident actually happened, we have to wait for more further details to come on it, that what is going to happen, how the army major is going to get accountable for, and everything will pan out shortly. But moving on to a very interesting story that has been making you know, the headlines from the Mahadev Betting App story, the case that has been going on recently. We just you know, it made headlines when Ranbir Kapoor was summoned by the ED to you know, come in the case, and we are all very shocked that how you know, Ranbir Kapoor is linked to a betting app, Mahadev Betting App. That is,
the dots do not connect at first, right?
The dots never connected at the first. I'm just going to quickly read out one e-copy of the Economic Times, and just so that I give you a brief of the case, that what is happening and what is this Mahadev you know, Betting App case, and how Ranbir Kapoor is involved in it. It says that the India's crime fighting agency, the ED, has summoned Bollywood superstar Ranbir Kapoor in connection with its probe into the illegal online betting application, the Mahadev Book App case. The ED said it has frozen proceeds of crime worth rupees 417 crore in the matter. The agency suspects the quantum to be more than rupees 5,000 crore. The alleged perpetrators behind the application caught the attention of the ED after the expenses of a lavish wedding held this February in the UAE, close to 200 crore, Adrika, 200 crore wedding we are talking about, and because of that wedding, ED got to know that something is not adding up, the math is not mathing anymore.
The math is not mathing anymore.
The math is not mathing anymore, so they booked Ranbir Kapoor, and how Ranbir Kapoor was, apart from Ranbir Kapoor, he is not the only one who has been, you know, booked in the case. It's Huma Qureshi, Hina Khan as well, who
Kapil Sharma, to my surprise.
Kapil Sharma, to my surprise, is also, you know, being booked in the case. So, I mean, what is happening, how these superstars are
Nancy,
being
I'm
involved.
going to quickly read out a e-copy of Money Control, and the latest that we are getting is that Shraddha Kapoor has also been summoned by ED in the same Mahadev Betting case. The ED has summoned actor Shraddha Kapoor in connection with Mahadev Betting App Case today. The actor is expected to appear before the ED today, that is October 6. I mean, it's almost like the Tu Jhooti Main Makkar's entire, the both protagonists of the movie have been summoned by ED, and we also know that Ranbir Kapoor has also been summoned by ED. These celebrities are not accused in the case, but will be questioned to see what they know of the mode and the flow of payments made by the app's founder. According to the ED, the Mahadev Betting app, promoted by Saurabh Chandarkar and Ravi Uppal, laundered money through layered web of Benami bank accounts. I mean, for the benefits of the viewers, it is important to understand that in India, online betting and online betting games are not legal on paper. How they are, how they are basically evaluated and how they are analyzed is on the basis of skill and risk and chance. So any game, online game that, you know, involves chance or risk more than it involves skill, has not been granted a legal ground by the authorities. And for any app or any online game that involves any, you know, financial influx into it, the creator of the game, the founder of the game has to, you know, get the game and the entire set of it registered at the ministry, right? So a lot of developments coming in the case becomes very interesting, since we know that a lot of known figures like Ranbir Kapoor and now Shraddha Kapoor is what we are getting, were are being summoned by ED. They are not directly accused, but then again they have to make the ED aware about the procedures and the flows that the Mahadev Betting app was using to, you know, kind of influx money into the system by what they call is the Benami bank accounts.
You know, so the app allowed, you know, placing illegal bets, and the wedding that is causing the 200 crore wedding, and it was paid in cash.
In cash, all in cash.
I mean, where the money is coming from, we would like to, get our hands on it. But, you know, whatever is happening, a lot of high-profile celebrities are involved in the case. So, I mean, it's definitely going to blow up. Whatever, you know, Ranbir Kapoor, Hina Khan, Kapil Sharma, they are renowned names.
Shraddha Kapoor
and
now.
Shraddha Kapoor also, and they are being involved in a case of this betting app that, you know, allows you to bet, you know, place illegal bets, and the whole money laundry thing is also in the picture. So we just have to wait and watch that how is it going to pan out for the celebrities who are involved. I mean, how is it going to, and ED is also informed now, ED is summoning all these stars. So we have to, you know, get to the crux of the matter. But Adrika, moving on, there is this one interesting story that the Times of India has covered about infrastructural loss due to climate change. I'm just going to quickly read out what is the story and how we are going to, how the Times of India is covering it. It says that climate change has led to an annual average global loss in the infrastructure sector to the tune of $8,050 billion, implying that 14% of the 2021 to 2022 GDP growth is at risk, according to a report by Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. So, you know, because of climate change, we were just talking about Sikkim, Adrika, and we know that for government, it's a huge loss infrastructure wise, because now you have to build the bridges, you have to take care of the roads. The way, these floods, these disasters are happening, it is causing a lot of infrastructural damage to the cities, and to cover that up, to compensate for the damage, the government will have to empty their pockets, and it is, you know, causing a huge infrastructural loss. The tune goes for the $850 billion we are talking about. And the report says that high income countries could witness an increase in annual loss by 11%, which would increase to 22% in the middle income and 33% in low income countries. The report says to achieve sustainable development, goals, nations need to invest $9.2 trillion annually, in resilient infrastructure till 2050. I mean, climate change is a serious thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing now, and it is causing a lot of infrastructural loss. And to compensate for that, a lot of economical loss, the kind of toll that it will have on the government is going to be something. I mean, if you look at the visuals, bridges are completely destroyed, roads are been cut in half. It happens like that, a bridge like that never existed.
Massive buildings collapse in seconds. And I mean, it is very important to understand that all of this influx of money to kind of compensate for the damage that has been caused by climate crisis is a vicious cycle. If these infrastructures were made and built, kept in mind the fact that the development that we are heading towards has to be very sustainable in nature, the influx of this money, the toll that we are talking about, would not have been made in the first place. There would have been no committees discussing sustainable development, and sadly that is the only thing that we have around sustainable development.
Definitely.
Every child, I mean anyone who goes to a mere school knows sustainable development as a subject, and all of us know the definitions, and we have been pondering around it for so long. But what more do we have for it? It really breaks my heart to really say this out loud, but what more will it take for this for our country also, because we know the amount of toll that climate crisis has also taken on India, given that 2023 was a devastating year in that context, and globally as well, where we are seeing deadly typhoons, tsunamis, earthquakes back and again, time and again. For humanity and for governments to realize that you cannot eat and sustain on big buildings.
Definitely.
You cannot eat cement and sustain. You cannot be polluting rivers like that and still be thinking that, oh, an influx of what, $4 trillion, or the figures that Nancy was reading, is going to compensate for the damage. Once the damage has been done, you cannot undo it, you can just compensate it. And I don't know for how long can we withstand that compensation.
Definitely, Adrika, and 70% of the loss is tied to climate change. That is why the infrastructural loss that we are facing as a globe is happening because of climate change. But because of shortage of time, this is all the time we had. We need to wrap this up, but you guys don't have to go anywhere, because we have a lot of shows lined up for you, whether it's on cybercrime. We have the South Indian, which will give you all the latest update on what is happening in the southern part of our country. Then we have Global Lens with Neha Khanna at 8 p.m. as well, where we give you all the latest updates on international stories. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching News 9 Live and stay tuned for all the latest stories with us.
Delhi has the fastest growing metro network among G20 nations. From 6 stations in 2002, it today has 286 stations.